Well, I was probably about 12 when I first started riding. And why? I have no idea. It probably wasn't one of the better decisions of my life. I love it, so maybe that's why. For big boys like you, Jeffrey.
So I never wanted babies. I mean, everybody in my family always believed me when I said I never wanted any kids. My life was horses. I mean, I spent 16 hours a day at the barn. I got my first job so I could pay for my horses when I was 15. I just never wanted any babies.
I worked for a lady, and she wanted to sponsor somebody going into school. And I had dreamed of going to that school since I was 12 years old. She paid my entire way through the school with an agreement that I ran with straight A's, and I did. So it was Meredith Manor International Equine Center, and that's actually where this guy is from. The school actually gave him to me a year after I graduated. When I found out I was pregnant, it was a self-home test, and I ended up going to the pregnancy center to get a different test because I convinced myself that I did the first one wrong. And when I found out that it was true, that I was pregnant, I was terrified because I always hear about people who are into horses. They end up having to quit because they get pregnant, and kids take so much time and so much money. And
I had thought about an abortion for maybe like a day, and then it was kind of like, I can't do that. And when I had gone there, they had asked about it, and I was like, no, I can't. Like, it's not in question anymore. And they were super supportive about the idea of anything, just, you know, they were comforting almost. I had said, is it okay for Dad to come back for the ultrasound? And she's like, you just called him Dad, did you realize that? And I was like, yeah, I guess I better start getting used to it. So Bo got to come with for the ultrasound, and we were joking about it being twins on our way there because like it runs in both sides of the family. It's my turn, it would be my luck. I didn't want any babies, it would be my luck to have twins. And we got on there, and gosh, she pointed it out and she's like, there's two of them. I feel like we were just quiet. Bo and I were both shocked. He was so excited. Like, he was calling his uncle and stuff before we were even out of the place. So he was super excited when he found out it was twins. And I was just trying to match his energy and be excited with him. But I think in actuality, I was pretty terrified. I was really nervous.
The very first thing I remember about Sarah is the day that we had a youth group coming in, and oftentimes we'll host youth groups for education. And when we can, we like to provide an ultrasound so that they can see the miracle of life. You know, you don't forget it once you've seen it. We had this really great group coming in, and they had been volunteers in the past, and so I knew that Sarah was new to our Earn While You Learn program, and just asked if she would be the model.
Yeah, we got to bring in our youth group kids and got to meet Sarah, and it was just awesome that she was so willing for us to be able to be a part of that. And then Betsy, the ultrasound nurse, said, do you guys see anything? And so the whole surprise and the excitement that there was twin babies was just amazing. The kids were just in awe. So that was our first time meeting Sarah, was for that ultrasound.
Yeah, so we were all in the ultrasound room, and we saw that it was twins, and we were all so excited, and she was just so sweet and open with us. And then we were all kind of filing out, and Jill, she was just standing like on the edge of the doorway, and she said something about the Adopt a Family program. And as soon as she said it, I looked at my mom and I was like, we're doing that. Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, totally. And Jill's like, well, you guys can adopt Sarah and the girls. And we were like, okay, we're doing that. And so it just was kind of instant, but yeah. I just explained it to everybody what we were gonna do, and we put on a Christmas baking fundraiser. So we came up with what we wanted to bake, our order sheets, and then presented it to our church and community, school, friends, whoever we could contact, and had them order whatever Christmas goodies they wanted, and so we baked. A lot.
and baked and baked.
Was it bigger than you thought it was going to be when you did those orders?
I had previously done baking fundraisers at church for the mission trip, so I knew it was well received, but I wasn't expecting as many orders as we had.
Well, I get misty about it now, especially now, because that connection that was made in that very first meeting had so much greater purpose than any of us could have ever known.
I went in for just a normal checkup because I was doing them every 4 weeks, and I felt fine. You know, other than the sickness, which was normal to me by then. My doctor told me that I needed to go to the ER room in Grand Forks. She said, call Bo and have him meet you there, and they'll take care of you there. We'll call them and let you know they're coming. She didn't really say anything to me, so I was super freaking out at that point, like, what's going on? It happened so fast, I don't even know. When they first started trying to come at 23 weeks, I know I was pretty freaked out because I was like, what baby survives at 23 weeks? Like, they're this big, like, I don't even have a baby bump. Like, what do you mean they're trying to come at 23 weeks? And then at 26 weeks, when I went into that ER room and they were like, we're gonna take him today, I was pretty scared. When we decided that it was gonna be a C-section for both of them, just because it was safer for both of them, they took me with the bed down to the room. The doctor was super awesome. She even held up the baby for Bo, was like, hey, here's baby 1. And then when they were taking out Scarlett, baby 2, they even stopped her right here so I could see her. And that was super scary because she was just big. Like, I was like, and she wasn't moving and I didn't hear anything, and it was really scary because she was just so little and they were just in these big boxes, and it was terrifying because I never wanted babies. And then it was like, is my body just convinced that I didn't want babies, so they were kicking them out early? Are they gonna survive? Like, did I just go through all of this for nothing? Like, it was so scary. But God, it was like 12 hours, if not longer, that I had to wait before I could go see them because I had to get feeling in my feet before they would let me go see them. And even though they wheeled me down in a wheelchair, like, I had to get my feeling back before I could go see him. Bo got to see them before I did, so. This is Scarlett.
This little lady is Violet.
Violet's
Much happier now they're eating.
Yeah. Violet's the loud one, and Scarlett's the more serious one. Scarlett was 2 pounds 4 ounces. She was baby number 2, so she was up on top. She sat over by my ribs over on the side. She thought she was going to try and come out feet first. That's why we had to have the C-section. But you were 2 pounds 4 ounces.
10 and a half, 11 inches, something like that. So. She was just under 2 pounds. I don't know the exact number. It's like
1 pound 14 ounces.
14, yeah.
So they were half a pound apart. Yeah.
I've seen frog legs bigger than their arms.
Yeah. Well, we were still in Fargo at the hotel for Christmas. Coco had called and said that we needed to stop by and pick up our gifts.
When they brought in all the presents, oh my gosh. I came into work that morning and I was like, that's a lot of presents. And I will still remember, I texted Sarah and I shot a picture of all the presents you guys had brought in, and I sent it to her.
And she sent me a picture of all these gifts, and I was like, okay, well, I'll send Bo. And then Bo stopped by because he was driving there every day for work and sent me a picture of his truck full of presents. Like, you couldn't fit you couldn't fit anything else in that truck. And he brought them to the hotel, and it like our hotel room had exploded, and I was just like, I was in shock.
I don't remember what exactly she had said, but she was like, wait a second. Those are all for us? She thought they were for the whole program, for the whole center. And I was like, no, Sarah, those are all for you and Bo and the babies. She was in disbelief that your church, your youth group of teenagers would do this, you know, for her. So that kind of opened the doors to, she wanted to start reaching out. She wanted to know who are these people that just wanted to love on her.
I was like, oh my gosh, like these are all for our girls, like, and they were for our girls, and then there was stuff for us too. And it was crazy, like, what? There's people who are like just willing to give like that, like they've never even met us. It was just like, we didn't know who the family was. We didn't know a whole church had adopted us. We didn't know about Tracy. Like, it was just, wow. They were just doing routine checks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they told us that she had a grade 3-4 brain bleed, and we didn't really know what that meant at first.
Everything was touch and go, especially for Violet. Every day I remember coming into work and just hoping that God had good news for me.
But we knew it was pretty serious when they were like, we're gonna find a room and we're gonna have a meeting and we'll talk all about it, answer all your questions and stuff. It was super emotional. I've never cried so much in my life.
Before Violet's surgery for her brain bleed and the shunt and all of that, we passed out index cards and had people write out prayers or scriptures or whatever they wanted, and we sent 2 or 3 and a picture to Sarah, like the days leading up to the surgery.
They meant a lot, gosh, and I cried just reading them, and I was thankful to have something to read to Violet, because when we got the big messages with all of those prayer cards, that was when she was going in. It would be her third surgery. I didn't know babies at all because I avoided babies my whole life. So like, it wasn't anything weird to me, you know, how she was acting and stuff, because I didn't know how babies were. But she had the shunt put in, and then she came home, and it was like she was a whole different baby.
Your prayers were so needed for the babies. Your church's prayers were so needed for the babies, but what I don't know if you realize the impact you had on Sarah, the mother. She needed you more than even I knew that she needed you guys, you know, and in such a way that it's literally transformed her life from being a young woman who loved horses and never really wanted to parent, to now a young woman who loves horses and loves her babies, is a natural born mother who she never thought she would, but also who has a connection with God now that she never had before.
Never in a million years would I have thought I'd miss a baby. Like, never. But yeah, going back to the barn now and dropping them off, like, it's kind of hard to walk away and say goodbye for the day. And it's like, I kind of want to hurry up and finish so I can go pick them up. Because when I have like those longer days, they're literally like, he gets them to bed before I'm back home, and it's kind of like I didn't get my babies. I mean, that I know of, neither of us really thought much about God or anything, you know. We were just living our life day to day. It wasn't something we ever, I mean, we never went to church. I know, like, we had family and stuff that would ask us to go, and we're like, nah, we're gonna sleep in that day. But I know it's changed a lot, just because, you know, in the hospital, like, I was praying a lot, especially with her, with all of her problems and stuff. Like, I just started praying. I'm like, you know, maybe it was God who's sitting here telling me that you were meant to have babies. Here they are. Like, jump start, here you go. Here I am, you know?
Yeah.
It's definitely super special because when we get the clients we get here, we don't know how God is going to use us. We don't know how God is going to use our mentors or our volunteers. And all we know is that we get to love.
Just the outreach from the community it kind of takes your breath away, to be honest, to experience that love and just the joy that people have in giving back to their community and in giving back to the pregnancy center, because they feel that the work that we do is so valuable and they see the value in our clients and their families and want to help to be a part of helping those families and parents to be the best that they can be.
Sometimes it's news to people. It's hard to believe, it's even hard to say it, that they're valuable. And so when we're able to just give a heavy dose of that to them and that they can start believing it, we see changes happen. And there's a lifting that happens when someone starts to believe that they were created for purpose, created valuable, and created in God's image.
So the Women's Pregnancy Center, with them being there for me and everybody being a part of it and just, you know, talking me through things and keeping me positive and everything, it meant so much. It was, I don't know how I could be having smiles on my face right now if it wasn't for the Women's Pregnancy Center helping me through all of it. So they mean a lot to me. They're there for you, they're there to help you, and just believe what they tell you, that, you know, God's there to help you and they're there to help you, and just trust them. That was probably the hardest thing for me, was to let them be there for me and give me all the advice and all the help that they've given me. I was such an independent person with my horses. Letting them do all that was really hard for me, but it was the best thing. So it's probably the best advice I can give.